anthrax and the postal system. The investigation heats up as new contamination sites are found in New Jersey and on Capitol Hill.
We're continuing to find areas where there is contamination.
And as the U.S. warplanes give Afghanistan a ferocious pounding, there are new examples of how the air war is hit and miss.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News, reported by John Siegenthaler.
Good evening, everyone. The federal government is moving tonight to make the U.S. mail system safer. The Postal Service plans to buy $40 million worth of electronic equipment, which is supposed to sanitize the mail. But another post office in New Jersey was closed today after traces of anthrax were discovered. And while the U.S. intensified the bombing raids in Afghanistan, the president is also focusing on homeland security. NBC's David Gregory joins us tonight from the White House. David?
John, tonight administration officials say while health specialists are now monitoring up to 24 people in Washington with what they call suspicious symptoms, there are no new confirmed cases of anthrax. One day after health officials detected new traces of anthrax on Capitol Hill, this time in 3 congressional offices in the House's Longworth building, the new findings indicate only low levels of contamination. Those staffers and all who visited the offices are now taking antibiotics as a precaution.
So we feel quite confident in the medications that we have that we will see no cases of anthrax out of the congressman's office.
The findings mean that at least trace levels of anthrax have now been found at 13 different sites from Capitol Hill to the Maryland and Virginia suburbs. That includes mail facilities that serve the White House, CIA, and the Supreme Court, which has been closed for anthrax testing. Mail for all those locations is first processed at Washington's main postal facility, already found to be contaminated by the letter to Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle, if not others that officials fear could be as yet undiscovered.
What we don't know is, and I've said at the outset of this investigation, if this is a situation where we have cross-contamination from the original Senator Daschle letter, or if there's another piece of mail out there that we need to be concerned about.
That's why about 68 tons of mail from Washington have been trucked to this plant in Lima, Ohio, where the materials will be sterilized. And thus far, officials say, more than 10,000 postal workers in Washington are now receiving antibiotics.
And we are able to provide medications to everyone who comes in that is appropriate to provide medication for.
With other anthrax infections in the Northeast, officials closed a 3rd postal facility in New Jersey, this one near Trenton, after the bacteria was discovered in a mail bin. Meanwhile, the Postal Service buried another one of its workers killed by anthrax. Final respects being paid today in Washington to Joseph Kersine included a procession of mail trucks. Even as the anthrax scare grows, experts say this may be just the first test for the country's public health system.
We need to be proactive, plan for the future, know that we've got emerging threats that are not the diseases we're used to, or diseases in a new form. And be ready.
As for the source of these anthrax letters, that is still unknown. Officials saying while there is now reason to believe that domestic extremists could have been responsible, they still do not rule out the involvement of Osama bin Laden or his al-Qaeda terror network. John?
NBC's David Gregory at the White House. David, thanks. After September 11th, the U.S. was forced to focus on security. But long before the terrorist attack, at least one American city was already preparing. NBC's Shelley Smith reports.
San Jose, California, in the heart of the Silicon Valley, is home to companies like Adobe and eBay, now on the cutting edge of a different field, preparing for a terrorist attack.
What we believe is an inevitable effort to attack this country by terrorists using weapons of mass destruction.
For 4 years, Emergency Services Director Francis Winslow and other city leaders have been preparing for the worst, stockpiling antibiotics in secret warehouses around the city. If they need more, the CDC can ship 40 tons or a plane load in 2 days. Hospital emergency rooms are now equipped with bioterrorism manuals and more protective suits for the crews on the front lines of a terrorist attack. One of the most valuable additions to San Jose's terrorism response plan, gas detectors. Every hazmat team in the city has one. It's able to detect 9 classes of hazardous gases, including organophosphates, such as sarin nerve gas. 12 people were killed and more than 5,000 injured in Tokyo when terrorists placed sarin on a crowded subway.
This has now become their detector of choice. The hazardous materials team can use it every day, not only when they think it might be a terrorist attack, but anytime they go to an industrial environment.
San Jose put its terrorism plan to work when a train full of commuters collided with a truck. 37 people received minor injuries. 12 were taken to the hospital.
The techniques that we learned significantly speeded up our ability to evaluate and transport the patients.
San Jose plans to survive by preparing for terrorism in all its ugly forms, just in case. Shelley Smith, NBC News, San Jose.
And Homeland Security is the topic tomorrow on NBC's Meet the Press. White House Chief of Staff Andrew Card, House Majority Leader Dick Armey, and Democratic Senator John Edwards are all Tim Russert's guests. To the war in Afghanistan now, where the bombing is continuous, but a question continues to go unanswered. Just how effective is it? NBC's Nora O'Donnell joins us tonight from the Pentagon. Nora?
John, tonight the U.S. military begins week 4 in the bombing campaign, and the Pentagon concedes there will be no quick victories as Taliban forces appear to be digging in for a long fight. Aboard the USS Carl Vinson, American warplanes ready for another day of round-the-clock attacks, unleashing the heaviest raids to date on the Taliban front lines. One pilot said he's met little resistance.
I've seen a little bit of AAA from the ground, a couple of just shoulder-fired Stinger missiles.
Yet despite weeks of punishing attacks, the U.S. has failed to break the Taliban's hold on Afghanistan or even help the Northern Alliance to make significant advances. In fact, the Taliban claim they've beaten back a new opposition push and captured and killed 5 opposition leaders during a battle in the northern city of Mazar-e-Sharif.
They're fanatical opponents. They've only had 1,000 airstrikes or so on them so far. And their strategy is to wait us out. They're dispersing their forces in urban areas, in mosques and schools.
And according to Pentagon officials, placing military vehicles near humanitarian aid. Today, smoke still billowed from a Red Cross warehouse where 8 tons of bombs were mistakenly dropped in the past 2 days, destroying food and blankets for 55,000 people, an accident the Pentagon called a human targeting error.
And if all we see is bombing, and all we see is civilian casualties mounting, or the perception that that is the case, one of the results is that it's going to undermine the covert effort.
Tonight, in order to bolster Northern Alliance forces, Russia announced it will send $45 million in military aid to Afghanistan, including 40 tanks set to arrive before year's end. John?
NBC's Nora O'Donnell at the Pentagon. Nora, thanks. Increasingly, U.S. warplanes are focusing on the front line just north of Kabul. That's where NBC's Tom Aspel is tonight. Tom, what did you see?
John, we could hear warplanes overhead at dawn, and all morning they appeared to be hitting Kabul 40 miles to the south of us, but at midday they came north, 20 miles north of Kabul, to the Shamali Plain. That's where Taliban and Northern Alliance forces face each other across a maze of trenches. We saw jets flying at about 30,000 feet, bombing Taliban gun emplacements near Bagram Airport. Columns of dust and smoke visible from miles away there, and we counted 3 strikes within 30 minutes, all within the same place. Other reporters said there were more strikes on the trenches, which run roughly across the center of the Shamali Plain, John.
And Tom, what effect did all this have on the troops who were watching?
Well, clearly a morale booster for them today, but many of them expressing disappointment at the level of American airstrikes so far. They really need more weapons, and if they want to get to the gates of Kabul by winter, they need fresher and newer weapons. And they just worry that the bombing campaign is just not going to do the job. John?
NBC's Tom Aspel, north of Kabul, Afghanistan. Tom, thank you. Now, complicating everything is the weather. Case in point, a sandstorm has been blowing through an area further north in Afghanistan over the last day with hurricane-force winds. NBC's Kerry Sanders was in the middle of it.
It feels like we're on the tail end of this sandstorm, but locals say we're in for perhaps 2 more days of fierce winds. The winds in excess of 100 miles an hour at one point, tearing up the NBC dish and knocking down the tent with all the satellite equipment inside. There are at least 500,000 refugees in northern Afghanistan who are also having to weather these horrible conditions. Temperatures now in the 30s. The sandstorm at one point so bad, we had to put on these gas masks so we could breathe. It's an example of what U.S. forces may have to deal with when and if they hit the ground here. Weather that's very unpredictable and can make it very difficult just to survive. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Kajabahuddin, Afghanistan.
And there was more fallout today from the Taliban's capture and execution of a key opposition leader. NBC's Ron Allen has that part of the story.
As mourners gathered at the home of the murdered Afghan opposition leader Abdul Haq, his allies vowed to continue his fight to overthrow the Taliban regime. But those allies actually are bitter rivals, some who met for the first time this week to plot strategy. Warring factions who tore Afghanistan apart during a decade of civil war, now struggling to put aside those differences and finally defeat the Taliban.
The challenge is that they should rise above those differences for a greater cause of the Afghan people. Whether they will be able to do that or not is something that remains to be seen.
America's key ally, Pakistan, continues to warn more should be done to help the opposition build a new broad-based government to replace the Taliban. The country's president remains uneasy with America's focus on military might.
I still maintain that it ought to be short because any prolongation of the operation is not in the interest of anybody, not even of the United States.
And certainly not Pakistan's. The largest anti-government and anti-American demonstration yet happened Friday. 50,000 protesters. And there are reports thousands of armed Pakistani militants are crossing into Afghanistan to defend the Taliban. Some Pakistanis who initially supported the U.S. attacks are now alarmed.
This is not good. This is against the credibility of United States. And this is not the right way.
Pakistan's president keeps walking a tightrope by supporting the U.S. and cracking down hard on protests. The latest challenge to the government, an ultimatum by religious leaders to stop supporting the U.S. in some 10 days or face widespread protests. Threats Pakistan so far has been able to keep under control. Ron Allen, NBC News, Islamabad, Pakistan.
When NBC Nightly News continues, the recovery effort at Ground Zero in New York.
Buzz, no! Dogs love home cooking, or new pedigree little champions. Gently prepared, then sealed in our revolutionary flavor lock pouch. For the home-cooked taste dogs love.
Yeah. What are you doing in there?
I'll be right there.
It's LensCrafters' best $99 offer ever. Right now, get a complete pair of glasses with DuraLens, our most scratch-resistant plastic lens for only $99. The $99 DuraLens event. This is one you don't want to miss.
I'm every man.
And every woman who ever suffered from frequent, persistent heartburn.
If you've treated your heartburn and changed your diet, but it comes back 2 or more days a week, then you may know about the burning pain of acid reflux disease.
But there's something about acid reflux that I didn't know.
Over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
But today, there's a purple pill called Nexium. It's from the makers of Prilosec. Just 1 prescription Nexium a day gives many people complete resolution of heartburn symptoms.
That could mean complete heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can determine if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and for a free trial certificate for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with today's purple pill called Nexium.
Scott and I have tried to raise Derek right. We know his friends are a big influence, but we also know we can shape his values and thoughts.
Just by talking to him about all the important issues.
We talked about drugs.
And how to say no to them.
We even had the sex talk.
Excuse me, we?
Well, Scott did that. We tried to cover all the bases with Derek, but sometimes I feel like we've missed something.
Talk to your kids about not smoking. It may be the one thing you've missed.
In New York City's lower Manhattan, where the World Trade Center once stood, a grim task continues, the effort to recover more bodies. NBC's Virginia Cha is at Ground Zero tonight. Virginia?
John, according to the mayor's office, more than 4,100 people are still missing. And for 47 days now, the primary mission here has been to try to find them.
Today at Ground Zero, grim routine. Workers fighting the twisted metal, slabs of concrete, the hot spots, all in an effort to find lost loved ones, to help bring some resolution to thousands of families. The grueling work, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. More than 400,000 tons of rubble removed, and almost 1 million tons left, still smoldering. Thousands of victims still buried. When remains are recovered, science is making positive identifications possible. At one of 2 private labs, this one in Salt Lake City, Utah, lab technicians do DNA typing. Samples of the person's hair or saliva provided by loved ones allow for final identification. A process that helped identify 42-year-old Michael McGinty, an insurance broker who was on the 99th floor of Tower 1, and Peter Gay of Tewksbury, Massachusetts, a husband and father who was aboard American Airlines Flight 11 when it hit Tower 1.
It's great comfort to a family in these kinds of tragedies to get proof that their loved one died and that they can bury whatever that proof is. And what we're doing is something to help the living.
By late this afternoon, the remains of 519 victims had been recovered.
Tomorrow afternoon, a memorial service will be held here at Ground Zero, and the digging will be halted for the first time. City officials expect nearly 10,000 people will attend. John?
NBC's Virginia Cha. Virginia, thank you. Now to the financial toll on New York City and its businesses expected to exceed $100 billion. Here's NBC's Rahema Ellis.
Just a few blocks from Ground Zero in New York's financial district, it almost looks like business is back to normal. But at the usually busy Regent Hotel on Wall Street, the registration desk is almost empty. Catering service has gone from high season to almost no season. Business is off 50%.
Normally this time of year we're running full, both from a catering perspective and from rooms. And that's nowhere near the case at the moment.
The devastation at Ground Zero just begins to tell the story. The surrounding office buildings are empty, and the worry is the tenants might not come back.
50,000 workers lost their jobs just in the World Trade Center. An additional 50,000 workers have been temporarily displaced. And then a lot of businesses right now are making decisions whether they want to stay in this area or not.
Financial losses for New York City as a whole may exceed $105 billion over 2 years. For retailers downtown, business is already off as much as 80%.
Our expenses are the same, and if the revenues are not there, we worry.
I had to let go one of my key people to save some money on salaries.
At the Divino Cafe, 2 blocks from the World Trade Center, the regulars and the offices they worked in vanished on September 11. Vanished with the 25 million square feet of office space destroyed in downtown Manhattan. How big is that? It's equal to the entire business districts of Cincinnati and Kansas City, Missouri combined. New York officials say the $20 billion in federal aid already promised will only pay for the recovery effort, removing debris and rebuilding some of the infrastructure. But not enough, they say, to lure back companies that have spent millions on temporary space.
They've had to pay a lot of money because they've had to go and essentially duplicate their operations in another place. Okay, now we want them to come back and do it again here.
In the coming days, New York senators plan to seek another $5 billion for grants and tax breaks to make coming back more attractive.
Obviously, we're tight for money. Obviously, there are many, many needs across the country. And that's why we've really been very careful in tailoring what we've needed. We're not asking for things that go beyond downtown Manhattan.
Money that's needed now, they say, to nail down commitments needed to preserve New York's status as the financial capital of the world. Rahema Ellis, NBC News, New York.
When NBC Nightly News continues, an update on NASA's mission to Mars.
It's time to get comfortable. Time to welcome your family home to the comfort of York.
time to enjoy the dependability and innovative features of a gas furnace or heat pump from York. And through December 15th, you can save on selected York home comfort systems with up to $300 cash back, or take advantage of special financing offers. York, because now it's time to get comfortable. Call 1-800-910-YORK for the dealer nearest you.
I ate Quaker oatmeal for 30 days. It actually works to remove cholesterol from your body. Sucks it right out. Help lower my cholesterol 10 points. That's even more than I bargained for. Quaker oatmeal warms you heart and soul.
Just when it seems like life couldn't get any better, your whole world can turn upside down. But if you're a Farmers Insurance customer, you can call our new Help Point service the moment it happens. We can answer the questions you can't. Farmers Help Point is here to care and really take care when you need it most. Farmers, get you back where you belong.
No can, no fork, no grill. It's the easiest way to a juicy grilled meal your cat can't resist. New from Whiskas.
I do enjoy the pleasures of the grill.
Yeah, I can see that. Whiskas, what cats want.
I prefer using natural ingredients. That's why I take Beano. Beano helps prevent gas from problem foods with a natural food enzyme. It's not a drug. So if you prefer a more natural approach, prevent gas with Beano.
I wonder, does Brenda need a sweater? I wonder if Sarah would like karate. I wonder why I ever left the house.
Seasonal allergies can make you feel miserable. Only Once Daily Allegra has fexofenadine for long-lasting, non-drowsy allergy relief, so you can feel more like yourself again. For people 12 and older, side effects include headache, upper respiratory tract infection, and back pain. Call your doctor now for more information about Allegra and enjoy your world.
Up first today for the spacecraft, NASA hopes will help answer questions about whether life could have existed on Mars. The Mars Odyssey began maneuvering in the Martian atmosphere, surfing less than 100 miles above the planet's surface. Over the next few months, the spacecraft's orbit will tighten so it can map Mars and send back daily weather reports. From Russia today, the first close look at damage from the explosion which sank the submarine Kursk 14 months ago, killing all 118 people aboard. And in this country, funeral services today for U.S. Army Ranger John Edmonds, who was killed in Pakistan last weekend in a helicopter accident as the ground war in Afghanistan began. When NBC Nightly News continues, the song that's come to symbolize America's patriotic spirit.
I'm every man. And every woman who ever suffered from frequent, persistent heartburn.
If you've treated your heartburn and changed your diet, but it comes back 2 or more days a week, then you may know about the burning pain of acid reflux disease.
But there's something about acid reflux that I didn't know.
Over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
But today, there's a purple pill called Nexium. It's from the makers of Prilosec. Just 1 prescription Nexium a day gives many people complete resolution of heartburn symptoms.
That could mean complete heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can determine if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and for a free trial certificate for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with today's purple pill called Nexium.
It's LensCrafters' best $99 offer ever. Right now, get a complete pair of glasses with DuraLens, our most scratch-resistant plastic lens for only $99. The $99 DuraLens event. This is one you don't want to miss.
On a special Dateline Saturday, personal stories of triumph over terror. A special Dateline tonight at 8/7 Central on NBC.
See what a difference today makes every day on NBC.
Wix is having one of their fabulous 36-hour sales.
I love my sofa.
$80 million worth of in-stock furniture, ready to go.
That's quite a haul.
It's Wix Furniture's big 36-hour store-wide sale, featuring Wix fabulous new Lazy Boy collection. Great prices on Lazy Boy sofas, sleepers, recliners, and reclining sofas, ready for immediate delivery. Plus, put no money down with no monthly payments and no finance charges due for 15 months with a Wix charge.
And it didn't just fall off a truck either.
There's one brand of truck strong enough to carry the American spirit, Chevrolet. And right now, get 0% financing on every new truck we build. Silverado, Tahoe, Suburban, Trailblazer. The trucks behind a country that never quits. And you can own one, interest-free. Keep America rolling. See your local Chevy dealer today.
Finally this evening, America's #1 song these days, God Bless America. The original version was written by Irving Berlin during World War I. He revised it as World War II approached, and it's now more popular than ever. And each time it's played, royalty payments go to the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. The thoughts of a proud daughter, Irving Berlin's daughter, in her own words.
God bless America.
My father originally wrote God Bless America during the First World War for an Army show, and he didn't use it at that time, and he put it away. In 1938, he went to London, and he was there during the Munich crisis.
Hitler let it be known that the German armies would be fully mobilized within a week. War seemed inevitable.
He thought of God Bless America. He took it out of his filing cabinet, and he revised it.
God bless America.
My father wanted to give hope that despite the dark times, that we would get through these times and come out the other side. That is why the song is so appropriate at this moment. When the chorus, through the night with a light from above, we're going through a very dark period now, but we all hope, and we even assume, we're optimistic, that we will come out the other side. My father was an immigrant who came to the United States at the end of the 19th century. God Bless America was an expression of my father's feelings for his adopted country, for his new country. He felt a sense of gratitude increasingly. He always said that the song was a song that he cared more about than any other song, and it was just a small way that he could repay this country for what it had done for him.
My home, sweet home.
Linda Emmett, the daughter of composer Irving Berlin, in her own words. And that is NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. Don't forget a special edition of Dateline tonight at 8 Eastern Time. And this reminder, daylight saving time ends tonight. Turn your clocks back an hour at bedtime. I'm John Siegenthaler in New York. Good night.
NBC.
Withdraw